So glad you made it out to this great rooftop concert tonight for Coheed and Cambria, everybody. So please make some noise for Claudio Sanchez, Travis Stever, Josh Eppard, and Zack Cooper. The boys are here. Welcome Coheed and Cambria to the stage. Brothers, it is so great to see you. Guys, how great is it to see them? And by the way, you guys were fantastic the other night at the Greek. That was incredible. Were you there? Were a lot of you there? How great was that show? I mean, it was incredible.
This is scary.
I got to say, guys.
I concur.
Are you guys psyched, though? I mean,
yes.
We've done, you've done quite a few of these things where you've done some acoustic performances, obviously electric ones, but I'm so grateful to be a part of this special night. And guys, let's go back, and because we're celebrating the anniversary too of Good Apollo 1, and let's kind of talk about this because I happen to be around for the making of the record and even before, because we have this long history, and at the time when I signed the band to Columbia, we had kind of done that in conjunction with Equal Vision, your label, of course, that put out Second Stage Turbine Blade, and then In Keeping Secrets, which was both incredible records. And it was so exciting to me. And I think I should tell the story that I almost lost the band to RCA Records because my label almost didn't cough up the last $10,000. Can you imagine? I'm like, are you kidding me? We're not going to... I got to go for your manager. I'm like, hey, I'm like, I called them up, my bosses. I said, hey, that 10 grand, you got to come up with that money, man.
We just had to have that 10 grand.
What's that?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
But it's amazing. But it was beautiful because there was this incredible process while we were promoting and working with and Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3, and then the writing was already starting for Good Apollo. And it was great to be there at those moments to watch you guys not only doing pre-production rehearsing, going through snowstorms to like upstate New York to try taking a train out and meeting you guys there, but just like the whole way you were writing the songs and things were developing. Let's talk about when we first started, becoming familiar with some of those songs, Claudio, because it was that period where you were starting to write as we're promoting and Keeping Secrets, right? And it was amazing because at one point, we were on the road. We were literally on the road in Europe. I went on the road with you guys in Europe. My relationship was like failing a bit, to be honest with you. We were having some struggles. And they were like, Matt, we got an extra bunk on that tour bus. Why don't you just come hang with us and go to Europe with us? And literally, I took my vacation time that I was going to be doing otherwise. And I'm like, I'm going to go on the road with the guys. It was amazing. And it was just beautiful. And you were writing those songs. And you're playing stuff for us on the bus. And I just will never forget those moments. Claudia, tell me about when you knew you were going to step into this position of writing, the writer, like what you were doing there when you were stepping outside the characters at that period of time with Armory Wars. Tell me what that feeling was like, because you were, at that point, you had to come from a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, I created the Amory Wars to basically hide my true story behind, It was just a disguise so I could be comfortable and tell the truth of my life in the music and, basically kind of blame, put blame on something else. So, well, because I was very shy. I'm still very introverted. I have a hard time putting myself out there. I mean, I think as I've gotten older and become, more comfortable with myself, I've allowed more of the listeners into my life. And I think at that moment in time, because I had been experiencing this heartbreak, I didn't know how I would be able to hide that in the concept. It was just I felt so angry. The music was so ferocious in the lyrics. And for me, it was like, this is going to be difficult to say that this is, strictly this science fiction fantasy just didn't make sense to me looking back on it. So that's why I decided with that story, I would cut it in half and I would show the writer's perspective and how the writer's life affects all of the characters within it, because all the characters are very much based on events that I had experienced, people in my life. So So for me, it was like this is an opportunity to really let the listeners in and show them how both the concept and the music are a very symbiotic thing, you know.
Absolutely. You know, there was a thing about that, and it's very evident, and it's what's so special about you guys as a 4-piece band is how everybody contributes so much to the end product, the 4 of you, like to the records and to the music, and it's all the personality and the parts that you play in the songs that bring them so to life. And there was a lot of things that I discovered as we were making Good Apollo too, you know? Like, I mean, just Josh, you know, let's talk about, you know, the way you came up with the change in the breakdown of Welcome Home. One last kiss for you. Let's talk, you know, like when that happened, that was, you changed the dynamic of what was happening there. Let's talk about it.
And I think important to note that I'm in a band that you are allowed to kind of flex that creative muscle. And I feel really blessed and lucky. You know, Matt, you mentioned, I think you said your relationship was failing when you came out to Europe with us. Well, that was true for, I think, a lot of guys on that bus. And it was part of the bonding energy between us. I think there was a lot of hurt, a lot of young guys kind of learning to become a band together. Yeah. And I just wanted to mention that. That part in particular that you mentioned is, I don't know, I like the fucking Cars, dude, and they did that. So, I mean, that's the fucking answer. But I'm in a band with a bunch of maniacs that let it happen and don't say, what the fuck are you doing? So,
but it was so great. And you're right.
It is great. I love that part.
You know, and it's right because it's true that we were all, you, me, Claudio, and Travis at the time were all going through relationship issues at the time. So much so that I remember the first time, Claudio, that you played the demo of Wake Up for us in the bus. And Travis and I cried. We actually, I was.
I did, I'll admit it.
Yeah. I was in tears, man, when I heard the song. And I also remember Claudio.
Was hammered.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
Let's be real.
I mean, it was like it blew my mind. But I was like, I remember at the time you were like, I didn't know what you were going to name it because all the songs were still taking shape with names. And eventually, right before we, you know, it went to record the full version, electric band version, I go, so what are you going to call it, Claudio? You're like, well, you keep calling it Wake Up, so I'm going to call it Wake Up. So kind of like,
oh, that's awesome.
I used the name, and that's what the title ended up as. But it was just such a incredibly beautiful song in so many ways. You don't mind that I said that, right, Travis? That we were
No, not at all. No, that song still always hits home, but
it's such an
well, especially that version, Claudio's demo version. I remember the band was like, "Well, how do we top this?"
It was,
and
so
to be honest, I'm not sure that we did. I think all of us found a home in that song and a real solace. Not to be overly serious with all the laughs, but there's a lot of deep pain going on at that time, and that song seemed to really embody that for all of us. If we were smart, we probably would have just took that version and put it on the record.
Well, you
but
know,
we did.
you
But it's a
eventually
really
kind of
beautiful
did.
version.
You know, it was in the Snakes on a Plane soundtrack that they used that demo version. You know what I mean?
Is it really?
But,
it really was.
Wait,
it was. What's that? Right?
It might have been an
It was a
acoustic version.
It was
but
not. No, it was acoustic. It wasn't our demo.
not
But-
that demo. Yeah.
But
About
I
to
mean,
be like,
but the
"Holy
demo was more like that, you know, because it was a very stripped down, but beautiful recording in every way. It was incredible.
The
you know?
demo's out there. I mean,
Yeah.
Is it?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think it was on the
yeah, we
cassettes,
released
I think
it on
people have put it on YouTube. I mean, everything's out there. That's
Yeah.
the world we're in.
But that was amazing, all that stuff, you know, guys. It was incredible. Hey, and I just want to, I want to hear it for Zack Cooper. Zack has been in the band now for 13 years. Zack is such an incredible part of this family. I love what Zack has brought to the band, and it's the 4 most solid guys, not only amazing people that I love, but incredible musicians that really deliver in every way. And I just love the unity of the band and the friendship and the brotherhood that's there. So I just wanted to mention that. Zack, how was it like for you when you first started learning the songs? Like, were you a fan early on, right?
Yeah, it was. It was really trippy learning the song. It's still trippy when I learn songs and go back and relearn songs when we're gonna, play them on tour, because I was a fan of the band, and so I have all these memories attached to those early records. So it brings me back to a time. I can smell my old bedroom. It's really visceral. And every time I go back to like work on stuff, it I don't know, it just reminds me how lucky I am to be here. Really, I'm the most fortunate guy in the world. I love this, and I feel very blessed to be up here with these guys, and call them friends.
Yeah.
So
We feel really blessed to have found a Zack Cooper. We're the lucky ones for sure. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love it, Dennis. I think it's amazing. There's so many things that, in the writing process, because we weren't sure of the names, because, you were really obviously concentrating on lyrics. So we used to have we would sometimes have temporary names for songs.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So do you remember Welcome Home was Cashmere?
Yep.
Right?
Of course it was.
Yeah.
The hell else would it be?
And then what I loved was 10 Speed was Thin Lizzy,
Yeah.
because we love the double lead.
I think there was a Police song in there.
Yeah, there
literally
was,
titled
yeah.
Police song.
Yeah, which was
Mother May I.
Mother
That was
May
Mother
I.
May I, yeah.
See, we were right. Mother May I. Guys,
Jethro Tull was in there.
yeah, it was, because we were walking down the street singing Thick as a Brick one day. We were just doing the short version, that was. But, so tell me, speaking of that period of time, and for you, Travis, too, what are some of the memories in the studio? What that you remember the most about being there in Applehead and recording that?
I mean, we were staying in the house next door. So, Claude and I were staying there for the most part. I had a moment where I was confused because for In Keeping, we actually slept in the control room on air mattresses. Yeah. But this time we had moved to the house next door. And, Josh stayed there for a significant amount of time, but he lived in Kingston, 20 minutes away from Woodstock.
Probably not even. Yeah.
So you could be in your own
So
bed.
he went home. So the two of us would just be there tracking guitars back and forth. And I do remember there was at one point we were working on some guitars to, was it The Lying Lies?
I'm not sure, but I think I know
You know where I'm
I
going.
think I know where you're going.
He was trying to fall asleep next door, and I had all these guitars that I had already written to it. And Mike and Chris, who were incredible in the process, so this is not against them, but they were edging towards me changing. They were trying to change up what I already had for it. And Claude had really liked what I already had, and he just stormed in from the next door. And he was like, I can hear it going a completely different direction than what he had already. Let's not do that. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because, once you've lived with something for a long time, it starts to become second nature, and that's your voice. Even with adding guitars to a song that it's already there, if you're used to what you're playing, you keep working on it, and that's your identity. And then if you bring it in, I'm always open to changing it. That's part of this, too. But if you're already pretty excited about it, it's always great for the actual person who wrote the song to come in and go, nope, I want it that way. So that's a great memory of doing it. There was a lot of process that went into coming in before Applehead, where we were at the rehearsals that you came to on the mountain.
Yeah, remember that? Up on the mountain in the,
Up in the
snowstorm.
mountain.
And then you and I, Josh, we just we hung out pretty late. We just went around town, you know what I mean? And just did.
Oh, yeah, we
because
had some
I
snap.
don't know that we want to talk about that, Matt. Great.
no, you know what I mean.
Jeez Louise, dude.
Well, when I say stayed up late, I mean, we listen to music. We used to have this thing where we'd always go, and you and I would do it too. All of us in the band, especially whenever
Where's this
you guys
going?
were on the road.
No, just kidding.
No, but here's what I want to talk about.
No, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I got to say, it's really funny because one of the things I'll never forget is one of you guys coming in and going, hey, I just saw Uma Thurman bathing her kid in the creek right by the studio. Might have been you, Josh, so that's where I'm going with that.
She was up there all the time, Woodstock especially.
Because she lived there with Ethan and their their daughter's a musician now, actually, as a record out. So she was bathing her daughter in the brook.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, Uma Thurman's out there, man. And I said that
pretty
today. I
wild,
reminded the guys.
She's a musician because she was bathed in that brook.
She
That's
was.
right.
And
The
she
water
was-
of Woodstock.
No matter what, if you're bathed
and
in
she
that
was-
brook, you go into music, I heard.
I think that was part of it, and also because Coheed were recording right next door,
That must be it.
which
Yeah.
was a very, very important part of that as well. And now, of course, Uma Thurman's in Dexter, but there we go. It's incredible.
mind that.
So I'm loving the. Can we talk about the new record too? Because I really want to go into the father of make believe, and I love this record. One of the things that I've loved about these last two records you worked on was Zack in production, but the songwriting is so. I mean, the thing. How many bands can you say just keep coming up with such incredibly strong, beautiful material. Incredible. There's so many great songs on this record. And there was a lot of, I thought, introspective lyrical direction that you were going to, Claudio. Just about like, even in it's in the words, just about, think about mortality and, life. Tell me a bit about that.
I mean, for me, when I think of Father of Make Believe and I think of Window of the Waking Mind, they're very much, kind of like a good Apollo where I can't hide my reality behind this fiction anymore. I'm a dad now. And it is so inspiring to me to be one that it finds its way into the music, undoubtedly. I mean, Window of the Waking Mind, the record previously, was so much about parenting through the pandemic. But, of course, you look at the cover, and that's not what you would initially think. But for me, Father, to Make Believe, I'm coming to that point in my life where mortality is a big question. It always seems to be a theme in Coheed records. But the closer and the older I get, the more I fear a life without my wife, or vice versa, or what my life for my son would be like if we were tragically taken away early. It finds its way in there.
It really does. All the way from the first record. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's for me it's just where I'm at. I think I'm really lucky that I get to look back at all of the discography, and I can really see it's a journal entry into my life, like who I was when I wrote Second Stage, the heartache that happened in Good Apollo, the becoming a dad in Unheavenly Creatures, and the questions I'm being posed in Father of Make Believe. I'm so lucky that I get to do that. I get to go back and see that, and I'm so excited to write more records.
I mean, there are, I don't know, there are a few, and I don't know if even there are that many of your contemporaries that have kept making records that are great. I mean, those last two albums just were incredible. Would you guys agree with me on that? I mean, song for song, those records were, you know what I mean? They were just, Window of the Waking Mind. I mean, they were, when you came out, and of course, it was so great to see even radio re-embrace things like Shoulders.
Yeah.
And Liars Club, which was just fantastic. And then also, just the diversity of the record, too,
Right.
Disappearing.
I mean, for us, I mean, that's always been a thing. We've never wanted a scene to define the output of this band. We've always loved music and from all parts, and that's why we just always incorporated all of our influences and all the things that have inspired us into it. We never wanted to wear music. We wanted to just be music, and if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that is incredible, Claudia. Josh, talk to me about what a process is like for you when it comes time when you're brought the new music, and you're going to be writing a new drum part around the songs as you've been just so prolific at doing all.
Well, the process has, in some ways, kind of evolved, and in other ways, not at all. I mean, I remember in those Good Apollo days, Claudio would write these songs in his bedroom. He would just record them on a 4-track, whereas now, Claudio's basically, I mean, he's an engineer. He records these things in a professional capacity and delivers them to us. What that means for me is sometimes there's a whole kind of universe of sound around it, which before it was just one acoustic guitar, which was quite easy to write to, whereas times now it's a lot of different layers and a lot of different soundscapes to write to. But there's more in common than I would say not, but you get a song and each song is approached uniquely. I don't want to sound so corny, but it's really about letting the song, it's about becoming a fan of the song first. I don't know that I know how to be a drummer or to be in a band if I'm not really a fan.
Yeah.
And that's really the truth. I have to fall in love with the song, and then it feels like it's not work to be a part of it. Yeah. It just kind of comes out of you. I've had some small experiences not like that, and it's incredibly difficult to just kind of write a drum part from a more kind of I don't know, studious mindset. Whereas with Coheed, I think my best work is when I'm really in love with the material. And that's really all the time, not to sound corny, but yeah, that's the process. I mean,
It's that good.
that's the process. You get a song, fall in love with it, have to be a part of it. Yeah.
I think it's great. Travis, we're going to talk about, in the end, you know, like there's so many great parts of the guitar playing that you and Claudio have done together, and all the switching off and the things, the layering that I know people love so much about all the records. But Good Apollo, when we go back to it, what is your memory of that, of working on that ending of Welcome Home?
Well, Josh mentioned it that a lot of things were acoustic, right? So I remember I had this really, really crappy CD player thing that you could plug the guitar into. And I took it to my girlfriend at the time, but now wife. We went to visit my father-in-law in New Orleans, and he gave me a CD of at least 7 of the songs that were written that he had on acoustic. And I just sat there for hours coming up with ideas, playing into that. And the difference now is I didn't record them. It was trying to keep them in, you know, I didn't have a phone. So just trying to keep in memory of what it was, which was probably kind of an interesting way back then, because some things probably changed so many times. But that was my memory of when I really was first working on those guitars. And that's right before we went up on the mountain to start working as a band, you know. So I don't know if that kind of answers the question. I, you know, as far as with that record, once we got into that studio that was up on the mountain, that's when we really started to hone in on what some of the guitars would be. And of course, he had some things, even on the acoustic, that he had some melodies and stuff that would be in there, and I would learn those and perform those. Most of them becoming electric and figuring out how we were going to make those voiced with an electric guitar as opposed to just on an acoustic. But yeah, I remember feeling very excited because, like Josh said, there wasn't a shortage of good songs, and that I was already in love with as they were. And it becomes, how do I add something to this to heighten it or keep it as good as it is? And you know, and that becomes my job.
It's amazing when you think about that. It was incredible. One of the things you guys may or may not remember, and I think Blaze will probably remember, your manager, of course, and our brother. But also, I don't know if we've told this story, but one of the executives at the record label once said to me, "Hey, we're doing this new thing. It's called a super CD." He goes, "Do you remember this story?" And he goes to me, "Matt, this album's long. Can you talk to your band about shortening the record?" And I looked at him, I said, "You're asking me to ask my band, a creative band who made a concept record, to edit themselves for a technology thing?" I said, "Fuck no."
Matt's a gangster.
And that was it. And that's
Thank
where,
God we had you, brother. Sincerely, man. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, and I will never forget that, because that record is a masterpiece from start to finish, as so many of yours are. So I'm grateful for that. And for those... Yeah, it was beautiful. And then in the moment, you know, and there's a lot of great stories there, but it's just fantastic. You know, Zack said to me, your producer of the last 2 records, that he's never worked with a band who has so many ideas that are already realized when he talks about your songwriting. And he talks about the band being ready to play. He said, and he's worked with a lot of people, and he's had quite a bit of success, but he looked at me and he said, nobody that I've worked with comes really as prepared with incredible material and songs to develop. You know what I mean? And I think that's an incredible compliment.
Oh, absolutely.
To everybody in the band. You know what I mean? You know? So what do you think about that? When you did he ever say that to you? I know we all had dinner.
Yes, he sort of expressed that, you know, a lot. And, you know, that's not the first time. It's a lot of producers. Like when, you know, when we've worked with Jay Joyce on The Color Before the Sun, I mean, I think he was totally blown away that we were so prepared. The material, you know, I mean,
Nick
you know,
Lennox, everything.
yeah, I mean, we just, it's, I've been writing songs a long time. We've been performing as artists for so long. And sometimes it's almost a question I'd love to ask you, Matt. But like when we did a Good Apollo, because we were so loyal to Mike and Chris, I mean, did the label ever consider somebody else, like another producer?
No, you know what? I wanted to let you guys have that freedom because I loved In Keeping Secrets so much.
Okay.
So I fought to keep that relationship as long as you were happy with it.
Yeah,
and I
of
think
course.
one of the things that you make, I'm sure you guys remember, is I would have that conversation with you and go, "Are you sure? You guys have an option if you want to take it in a different direction." I mean, we did that when it came to mixing the album,
Right.
because we talked to a few different people. We did some test tracks with like Andy Wallace and some other folks, and there were a few different guys. And those guys are fantastic, talented men. But we settled on David Bottrell, who was amazing and had done Tool and had done Peter Gabriel.
Yeah,
He
that was a big
mixed
selling
Good
point
Apollo.
for him.
And you remember we talked with a couple other people too, and it was like, I wanted whoever was working on it to be totally 100% into it.
Right.
It was like the most important thing, that they loved it as much as we did.
Right.
Matt, do you remember before we had officially, I guess, signed on with Mike and Chris that we were wildly interested in getting Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin to do the record?
Yeah, do you remember that?
We
did.
shot for the moon. We were like, we're on Columbia. Let's try to get Jimmy Page to do it. And we said, anybody other than Jimmy Page, I guess we'll go to Mike and Chris, because we were loyal. We're deeply loyal to our friends Mike and Chris.
Oh, I noticed. I mean, that's one of the things that's so great. I mean, look, you were with the same manager that you've been with the entire time, and our friendship has only gotten stronger through the years. You're a family, and I'm a part of that family, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And I love you
yeah.
so much. So and I see that's the way you treat everybody in your camp, which I love in a big way. And Zach, I got to ask you. First time you got in the studio to lay down some of the tracks, was there some nervousness in it, or how did you feel?
Oh man, it was insane because it was what was it, like a couple of days after I auditioned, which was also in the studio playing along to a new song. Like it wasn't playing with the band. They pulled up this track. It was Domino the Destitute.
With all of us staring
With
at
all,
you like this.
and they're just all watching, and Chandra's like, "Do you mind if I film this?" And I was like, "Sure, okay." And they just pull it up, and they were like, "Okay, play something cool." And I was like, I don't,
And then
I
he
guess.
did.
And and then what's on the record is what I tracked like 2 or 3 days later or whatever. But yeah, it was stressful, very stressful.
It's also
But-
worth mentioning it was Mike Birnbaum and Chris Bittner who kind of hipped us to Zack and said, hey, there's this dude. I mean, Zack had played in a band with Claudio's cousin and worked at the local record store, but it was Mike and Chris who said to us, hey, this is a guy that you've got to check out. And that's how you got put on our radar.
Yeah, props
right?
Mike
That's
and
how-
Chris. Love those guys.
Yeah. And props to you for working at a record store. See, I love that. I'm all about the.
Oh, wait, it wasn't
Well,
a record
it was
store. I meant a
Alto- it
music
was
store.
Alto-
I meant a music store.
It was a music.
Well,
it was
music
Alto.
store is still good.
Taken away.
If it's an instrument
I gotta give
store,
those
it's a
props
good
back.
thing.
Did they have records? Maybe they had some.
No, they
records up
didn't. They
front.
didn't.
Oh,
No,
too
no,
bad.
no. I don't
Damn.
deserve.
That's
Listen,
okay.
I don't deserve those props. I would love them though.
He goes to a lot of record stores.
I do.
It's as we listen to songs on the new record, and there's just so many different, things. Like I said, we were talking about how incredible the lyrics were and how thought provoking they were to me. And I got to say that I finally came out of that coma, and then the first record that I listened to was the album had just dropped, and I remember I called you, Claudio, to tell you how much I love the lyrics and how much I love the songs. And it's just like, thinking about mortality, I'm so grateful to be here. I want to tell everybody that. It's amazing to be alive and be here with my brothers tonight and be here with you. So, but man, I just, I love the record. So, and it just keep recording and writing really incredibly great material all the way around, at this point, right? There's so many great songs, and everybody has their favorites, right? I know, and I'm sure some of you are going to be on the cruise too, right? I'm hoping to see you there, which I think will be great, and I'm looking forward to that as well. I know we'll have more stories to tell, which will be cool, because I will never forget, like I said, when Welcome Home when you first brought it in to play it, and we decided on the gang vocal when we were in that room, next to the president's office. We were just listening to it, Josh. That was a really great moment, wasn't it?
I mean, that's how I remember it. I remember you saying, man, I could really hear some gang vocals like the end of In Keeping Secrets. And
I sang like a melody to what you already had.
Yeah,
kind of like I went to you guys, whoa, 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 and then you guys went yes, and you went back and recorded it that night.
and the guys that we got sang it about as good as you did. Yeah.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah, not very good right there.
No, but that adds to the legitimacy of it. It sounds like a bunch of fucking pirates. And those are my friends I play softball with.
Yeah, it was amazing. You literally, guys, you called your friends and had them come down to the studio and cut that because you looked at me that day. We were in the thing, and you go, I agree with that. Because you remember what I said to you guys? I said, you know what? The way that people go berserk when you do In Keeping Secrets live and you come back, whoa, 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 and I was like, it'd be something really cool if there was a thread through that record, just like that.
Matt, to this day, it's the best suggestion. I think it might be the only suggestion I've ever got from an A&R guy. At least the only one that got really used. And it was such a slamming suggestion. And, it's become a signature thing. But it's no surprise to me, Matt, how much you love and breathe music, that you heard that, and then we made it come to life. Yeah. And that's the shit. It's also part of one of the things that bonds us. For every time I hear that, I tell that story.
Yeah.
My friends are like, yeah, dude, we know. You've told us the fucking story. And I'm like, it's so important to me. I love that story,
it's
man.
the greatest.
You're part of this, and we love you so much, man.
I love you. And I remember when you guys were doing one show, opening for Primus and Tool. And I remember you said, Matt, look out at that audience and see all those people singing that chant at the end you suggested.
Yeah, man.
And that was a beautiful moment.
Iconic part, yeah.
And I remember that. And I remember the kids were running around the stage. It was like so great. It was just cool. But guys, we're gonna take some questions from the audience as well, and we'd love to do that. So I'm gonna. I know there's a microphone going around. So is that?
Is there? I can't see anything.
Figure out if this is. See, I can't see any kind of prompting, but I just wanted to know if it was that time.
Oh, I see a microphone.
Okay, great.
Who has a question? You want to raise your hand?
Yes. Okay, great. We're going to take some audience questions before the performance, guys.
Hi, my name's Connor. I'm
Hey, Connor.
Hi, Connor.
longtime fan. You guys were the first band that ever inspired me to write music myself. So this question is for all of you, but for Claudio specifically. What was the first band you ever heard that made you realize you wanted to be a songwriter?
I don't know. I think it's a bunch of moments. Probably listening to Sting in the car with my dad.
Same.
You know, Englishman in New York was one of those songs. One of the first songs that would always get like trapped in my head. I don't know if necessarily at that moment in time that's what I wanted to do. I think for me, when I started playing in a band, is the moment where I realized I wanted to do it was when I went and saw Black Sabbath at the Beacon Theater in 1994. It was my first concert. I started at that time. I was playing in a band. I wasn't really the principal songwriter, if you will. I was just somebody that wanted to play guitar with my friends, and watching that moment happen, it was like watching the lights in rhythm with the music. I think that was a moment where I was like, oh, this is something I would like to do, you know.
That's awesome. Thank you. My first show with you guys was the Summer of Hell tour, so that's really funny.
Oh,
because
really?
you were opening for Dio with
Dio
Sabbath.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Thank
a
you.
huge full circle moment, clearly, for me. Like, when they asked us to do that with them, it was like a no-brainer. Like, of course.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
So great. Thank you so much for that question. Okay. Hey, Debbie.
Hi guys, my name is Will. I have a serious question or a fun question. What would you guys rather have?
I mean, I don't know, man.
Go to serious
You
one
pick.
first?
Dealer's choice.
The serious question is talking about mortality and everything that you guys were talking about. With the work, the whole discography you guys have, with everything you guys have built, does that like mean anything when you look back now? Like, how does that kind of feel to have built such a large fan base and such a large discography of just amazing music? Like, does that hold something? Does that have like power or anything in it?
I think for me, the power is that we can be here for you and you can see yourself connect to a chapter. Like, we're growing together. I think that's like a very beautiful thing that, you know, when I sit there and we do the meet and greets and we meet and just seeing the connection of like, I've become, you know, for example, like, Window of the Waking Mind or Father of Make Believe, you know, when I hear the stories of like new fathers or new mothers and how they connect to that record and how that's special to them, or how a record like Good Apollo and could connect with someone because they too are experiencing a heartbreak. I mean, it's just, to me, that's like been so special that there's like this connection with the audience. Like, there's always a record there for a moment in your life, if that makes any sense.
That's great. And one quick last question, your unserious one.
Was there any song you guys wrote that you thought was like not going to be very popular that the fans just really grasped onto that you guys weren't expecting to be like a hit?
Oh, good question. I don't know, actually. I think we're usually not in a cocky way, but we're always so thrilled with the music. Can you think of one? I'm saying I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I mean, Number City has it like has a following of its own that's pretty surprising.
But
because
truthfully,
it's so
I
odd.
thought Number City was dope as fuck, so I'm not that shocked. Like, you guys have one? I never.
I can't think of anything.
I think that's an honorable mention, but yeah, we really loved it, and we knew it was a page turn, and we knew some people, like my brother Barry, who tells me that song's the worst. That tells me it's good. That's how I know it's good. Seriously.
Barry's wrong. He's wrong.
Barry's super wrong, dude.
He's wrong.
Yeah, Number City is awesome, but that's a really great question, dude. Really
Thank
terrific
you.
question.
And what's your name and what's your question?
My name's Tony. I got 2 questions, one for everybody here and then one for myself. First one, I was a poor college student when you guys did the Never Ender back in the day when you did the 4 shows. Is there a possibility that could happen again?
So, yes.
They took that as it's planned. That doesn't mean it's planned. It's just saying there's hope.
No, yes, it's not planned, but it is something that does get talked about. And I think something that gets talked about, and I'm probably spoiling this, but who knows, one of us could die tomorrow. We always talk about, in conjunction with myself and Blaze, like when the Amory Wars is finished and we sort of, you know, the Coheed and Cambria saga, you know, Year of the Black Rainbow to No World for Tomorrow, in a sort of format that can exist as itself. If that makes any sense, there's always room for Never Ender 2.
And then secondly, when I think of top 5 bands, you guys are in my top 5. But you guys just did a collaboration with Nick Hexum, which is in my top 5 as well.
Oh, right on.
When are we going to get, and I talked to Peanut, and he's a huge fan too.
We love Peanut.
When are we going to get a co-headliner 311 Coheed tour? You guys got to do that. Everybody's asking for it.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully one day.
There is hope.
Yeah,
I have
totally.
you guys both.
So you're
on
saying
here.
there's a chance.
You're asking the wrong guys.
Let's just
The
hope
guy you got to ask
Not
is right over
planned.
there.
Push it, but
that
it could
way.
happen.
And Zach, your bass playing.
joke about the $10,000.
Oh, the $10,000.
You only had that
$10,000 I'll lose this band.
I'm not.
No, good question. Hopefully soon. We love those guys. Obviously, there's a deep respect for those guys. So hopefully soon. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Joseph, and first off, I want to say that you guys have been my favorite band for more than half of my life. Good Apollo was one of the first albums that I remember hearing from you guys, and it's what really turned me into a fan. So it's really important to me. It's one of my top 5 of your guys's. But my question is specifically for Claudio. So when Vaxxus 3 came out and the box set had the book that explained like how the songs fit into the story, essentially, with the new version of the album coming out with the 4 new songs, are there plans for an explanation essentially for how those songs are going to fit into the story?
So conceptually in the book, Cyrus discovers, because of his proximity to the two quintillion speakers fighting. Sorry for those of you that do not get into this part of what we do. But he starts to regain his memory because he's got this brain degenerative disease, and so he starts to remember that his suit has encapsulated these entities, and one of them happens to be Mary, his wife, who, if you guys remember, those of you who participate, at the end of Afterman, he returned to the mono to find his wife and allow her to ascend to the next level of the afterlife, right? We never found out what happened to him. So Vaxxus 3 is almost the sequel to the Afterman story. But anyway, sorry I'm getting all nerdy on y'all. But
I think they like it, dude.
But anyway, so he realizes he has 5 new entities on him. And in order for Quinny, the blue one, to defeat the red one, he needs a little crutch. And so he opens up the suit, if you've read the story, and the 5 entities come out. And we realize he has a connection to Mary, who he did find. So Mary of Mercy, by the way, for those of you who do participate, is actually key entity number 10. Mary the Merciful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that, Claudio. And we got one more question. Okay, that's great. Appreciate it, brother.
Holy shit.
See, we have fun. Good. So, what's your name and where are you from?
My name's Eric. I'm from Los Angeles. I've been following the band for about 15 years, and hopefully I can speak for other fans that are here. I guess there's a little bit of a two-part here where I'm thinking, one, what keeps you guys going? And 2, I just really enjoy the tours and I'll be honest, the cruises that you do. And I've heard some people be all like, hey, how long can this go for? But I'm just like, every couple of years, this is a good thing to look forward to. So I guess like that's the thing, is that what keeps you guys going, and can we expect more tours? Do you guys still feel motivated to do this? Do you still feel motivated to do cruises and all that other stuff? And just because we all really enjoy your music and we want to experience this, and I guess I'm just sort of thinking, like, for anyone who's here and then like anyone who hasn't experienced this stuff yet, hopefully they can be able to do that. And this is just me trying to get a question, not be selfish. But thank you, guys.
Thank you. Well, thanks for.
That's a great question. And I'm sure the other guys want to chime in too, but in terms of what motivates us, I think anyone who's passionate about anything, anyone here that's passionate about anything, does it ever really feel finished? Or are you always kind of trying to be great and trying to find a more kind of broad and universal version of yourself? And I think I'm as motivated to be a part of Coheed and Cambria as ever before, maybe more than ever before. And I think I speak for the guys when I say that. I feel really lucky to feel that. I don't know if y'all want to chime in or.
No, you nailed it.
Yeah, Travis?
Oh, he nailed it. That was great.
Yeah, that really says it, doesn't it? Zach?
Terrific. I crushed it. Okay.
Crushed it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. When Josh says passion, I mean, there's just a love here for this, whether it's a love of creating, a love of being, collaborating with everyone. It's, I mean, for me, I can't see myself doing anything else. I mean, I love to write music. I wake up in the morning. That's the first thing I do before I go and I make, breakfast for my son. It's like I lock myself in the room and I write until I feel satisfied, and it's every day. It's just what I've been doing since I was 13 years old, and it's really important for me to sort of sustain and like to be able to bring that to you all with this group of friends is like, like Josh said, it's more motivated than ever. We've been through so much, and it's and this is constant. So,
I think it's fantastic. And I love it. And I'm so glad you guys are here. And it's such an honor to be here with my brothers, to be here with you guys tonight. So what do you guys think, everybody? How are you feeling? Guys, I want to just say thank you so much, too. This is just amazing to have you guys up here, and love being with you. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Love being with you, too.
Love being with you too, Matt.
You guys are my brothers and my family. So Is everybody ready for a great live set from the boys? I think it's going to be great.
It's going to be interesting.
I've seen you do every kind of live set, so this will be great. I think it'll be cool.
We're going to have fun with it.
Set, right?
I see so many longtime Coheed fans here. You realize, Matt, there's people here. Devin over here and his lovely girlfriend, Kay, have been to so many shows. They came, how many shows the last run? 12 in a row.
Yeah.
How many is that a total, Devin?
140.
Yeah, Devin, let's hear it for them. Devin?
Yeah.
And by the way, Devin, thank you for that ride back to the Punk Rock Museum house. Devin came to one of my tours I did at the Punk Rock Museum, which was so great, and hung out. And then I needed a ride back from the Punk Rock Museum to the house that those punk rock guys
You
own.
know Devin?
Vegas. Yeah, he gave me a ride. Well,
Of course you do. What am I talking
Well,
about?
because
Of course you
we
know
have
Devin.
the Coheed thing in common, and then when he introduced himself,
Matt,
he became
I
friendly.
fucking love that, dude. That is awesome, dude.
It was great.
Yeah. Well, Devin, we
awesome.
love you, brother. You're
Devin,
incredible, man.
So great. So, guys, thank you so much. You guys need want a couple minutes to take a break? Or
Yeah, let's do it. We're going to,
You guys ready to go?
I'm gonna go get prepared.
Cool. All right. We'll be right back shortly.
All right, everybody, let's hear it once again, please, for Travis, Zack, Josh, and Claudio. Coheed and Cambria for you, everybody. We love you. Thank you so much for coming out to celebrate the band with us tonight. We'll be back in just a bit.